Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Mythic Morgan, who is going to be coming to the game as the Survivor Allegiance Mythic Trials reward. As you can see on the right hand side, this is the visuals for the first edition version. This is the first time that this Mythic Trials is going to be coming in, and there is always a first edition version with that. And this is the Morgan first edition look. If you don't get him the first time round, you will still get him to the same, power potential as every other Morgan, but the first edition version just looks slightly different and also has slightly different things when it comes to the avatar and their art and stuff like that in your roster. So for instance, if you use him as your avatar, it will look like this, with the first just showing that it is the first edition version of the character. And when you see the character on your roster, it will look like this and say first in the top left hand corner. Now back to Morgan himself, and visually you can see that he has got that two-handed staff, so he is going to be having that weapon that he is very well known for in the comics and basically everywhere where Morgan is in the Walking Dead universe. Very well known for the two-handed staff. I have seen comments about him being very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like. It is definitely quite Donatello, and it would have been so fitting if that yellow went purple instead for the first edition version, but it is the way it is. I'm pretty happy with the way he looks. I think visually he looks pretty cool, very tanky, he's armored up. I think this is basically exactly how you'd want to be in the zombie apocalypse. It's not going to be too bad. But on the left hand side we can see he's battling with a savior. Maybe not a melee weapon for that, although for some reason the savior's coming in with fisticuffs. I'm not sure if that's a wise decision either, if I'm honest. Well, look at the stats. Grade 5, level 600. He will have 12,965 attack, 13,383 defense, but 15,474 HP, so quite high HP here. He is a strong character, of course. He is considered a tank, mythic character, and he is part of the Mythic Trials Allegiance. We don't know what this means, except for the fact we know he's the Mythic Trials rewards. Whether this is going to play into anything in the future, but just gonna bring it to your attention, guys. Now we will check out his Adrenaline Rush first. It is called Short Fuse. It is a 55 AP cost rush. Taunt up to 2 enemies for 2 turns. Those enemies get attack up block for 2 turns. So pretty basic rush on a defense team where this character is primarily going to be used. He's not going to need AP on attack, because with a basic attack and a signature move, you get 59 AP, and I can give you a little sort of like a spoiler that his signature move is in the first 2 turns, so he's always going to get that off in the first 2 turns. So you do not need AP on attack. That means you can stack stats on his weapon, which is going to be great. The taunt is going to work very nice. It just means that every time he gets attacked by a taunted attack, he gains 5 AP. So that'll be 20 AP over those 2 turns. And again, he's very, very unlikely to not have his rush up. And he could potentially even have it where he's doing his rush every other turn because of those taunts. Those enemies getting attack up block for 3 turns is actually kind of interesting. This will work with strong attacks weapons, for instance. So when it comes to their turn and they would normally get a buff from strong attacks, it would not happen. And this is basically going to limit the amount of damage Morgan's going to take, not to be like ridiculous levels, but he will still take damage, of course, but it just won't be that super buffed out damage. Okay, so here we are on the rush turn, and we are going to just rush the central character. I am using one attack here, but this is just to show you kind of like worst case scenario. In most cases would be to do it on the central character, but the second hit is RNG, and as you can see this time around it hit Jesse Anderson. Both characters have got attack up block. They cannot get attacked up. If, like I said, with the strong attacks weapons on attack teams, that's going to be really nice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the defender action. He'll gain AP from taking damage, but he'll also gain extra AP for the fact that he's just being attacked by a target that is taunted. You gain a minimum bonus of 5 every time someone who's taunted attacks you. So you're going to see him gain some extra AP, and he gains 20 in just 2 attacks. And he didn't really lose much HP, as you can see, but 10 of that 20 is, like I said, just those 2 taunted attacks. So you can see I will do a basic attack again, and if I gain, the 10 plus, it will be 10 plus, because no matter what, you will gain 1 based on the damage you take, and then 5 per taunted attack. He's going to have his rush the next turn. So again, we'll just defend action on all these characters. It doesn't matter if they heal and stuff like that, but you can see I've got my rush up, and I'm going to be able to freely rush again. So like the taunt just came down, but I am going to be able to bring that rush back up straight away, and that's exactly how it's going to work on a defense team. You're going to be able to bring that rush straight back up, and we've basically effectively locked a particular character on a defense team. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit more random, but the AI generally does focus the same sort of character every turn with these controls, because it outlines which character is the most dangerous. If we look at the upgrades on the rush itself, at grade 2 it gets +1 attack up block duration. At grade 5 it gets AP cost going from 66 to 55. So this is actually quite important. If you don't get him to grade 5 instantly, that first edition, the first time round, he will be a 66 AP character, and that is actually quite different. So we don't actually see that too often on too many characters when it comes to the AP changing on the grade ups. And the limit break edition is here, but obviously you can't limit break this character until the Mythic Trials for Survivors comes back around in the future, and you get a +3 attack up block duration, which makes it go from 3 to 6. I might not be reading that right, but it looks like a 6-turn attack up block duration, and at that point it could potentially be really useful to have like AP on defense, and he could be rushing every turn nearly, just to kind of like taunt as many people as possible and get that attack up block in, and that could be actually pretty funny. He's going to be getting attacked by a lot of characters. That'll be the only downside, and like I said, that sustain seems to be quite a big issue. So him taking a lot of damage, and without the right characters next to him, he's going to get taken out sooner rather than later. However, we will see if other parts of his kit can help out in these situations, and his signature move is called Smoke Screen. It has an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 3 turns, number of uses unlimited, remove focus from up to 3 enemies. This character gets elusive for 3 turns, so quite nice. I like this. It counters Negan as a leader. It counters some characters who do have focus on their signature moves, although they will probably come in like turn 2 a lot of the time, so he will do this no matter what because of the elusive, even if no character on the other team has focus. That's generally how it works. The elusive itself is good though. That means that he becomes windowless even regardless of his weapon, so if he gets disarmed, he's still windowless. He's still not going to give away AP, which is going to be really good. It is turn 1, of course. That does mean that off the first turn, characters will be able to get in their 3 attacks with the Negan leader. Then he will do his removal, and then any other controls that come in that turn. For instance, you might have taunts that come in on turn 1, or people lined up a lot of attacks on Connor, for instance, and they're like 2 characters are taunted, and they'd normally not be taunted the next turn because the focus would have 1 more turn duration on a Negan attack team. Morgan would remove that, and they'd actually be taunted at that point. So that's where it would become very useful. Now, while it may be obvious that it would work against Negan leaders and take away the focus, if you aren't using a Negan leader, it will still actually, do stuff. If we're just going to full defend on my attack team just to show you, we can see that we did have the removal of focus come in, but there was no focus on anybody. But he has got elusive, and elusive basically means I'm not going to gain AP now, so I can attack him, and as you can see, I've gained no AP. No AP. I'm 0 AP still on my characters. Attack him, still 0 AP on my characters that have attacked him. And that is going to be the main benefit of the second part of that. So even if there are no focus buffs on the attack team, he's still going to get that big boost. And that's going to work with his rush as well. So when those taunted attacks come in, there's going to be no AP gain. If he has an AP drain weapon, there's only potential for the AP to go down and obviously not up. And this game's all about rushing. So like I said previously, removing the focus would make it so that things like taunt and confuse would actually happen. However, if a human shield did get added to the game, then normally turn 2, Negan would be able to bypass that human shield still. It'll be turn 1 and turn 2 on the basic attacks for everyone in his attack team. Now 3 characters wouldn't. There is no human shield right now, but if one does come out in the future, Morgan and that human shield working together would obviously be extremely powerful. If we look at the upgrades, we can see at grade 3, it gets 1 cooldown slot, so it goes from turn 4 to turn 3. That is the only downside of this, in my opinion, is that it can't go off too often, but the elusive is almost going to be up 24/7, so it is extremely powerful there as well. And we can see at grade 4, it has a -1 starting cooldown. So if you do only get one of the Morgans, you are going to get the signature move to the highest potential, and the signature move is powerful. I think the signature move is actually pretty good. He will gain 35 AP from this as well, and then obviously 1 basic attack. He gains, I think, 24 without AP on attack on a defense team, and that's going to be enough to get his 55 AP rush, no problem. So far, so good on his kit, in my opinion. Pretty nice little combo of things, you know, the way things work. We'll see what his mythic abilities are going to add and see how, you know, much more powerful these are going to make him. Morgan's mythic abilities, these are the passives, of course. He has got strength because he is a tank. This means he has got critical hit resistance. This just means he's not going to take as big damage potentially, which is honestly quite nice. It's only 20% here, and the highest you can get it to is only 20%. However, when he does come back around, like I said, in a future Mythic Trial Survivor edition that comes back, not the first edition, but a future edition, you will be able to get the third character, limit break this character, and get it up to 40%. The next one's called Bounce Back. When attacked, 30% chance this character gets 25% bonus HP. So that is actually quite nice. It isn't as powerful as someone like Connor's, where it's 100% chance, you know, it isn't going to happen every single time, but it is a large amount of bonus HP, and this is going to be a character you're going to stack HP on. So when this does proc, you could be looking at, you know, 15 to 20,000 plus HP without too much of a problem. The next passive is called Eccentricity, and it has got 40% normalized resistance. This is extremely rare. We don't have much normalize in the Mythic era right now, except characters like from S-Class era coming in and still hitting the normalize, but you can't get normalized resistance within mods. So this is really, really powerful. This would mean that he has a 40% chance to block any normalize status effects, and normalize would remove the character's specialist skill for the amount of time. So for instance, a 2-turn normalize would mean that a Guardian Shield is no longer a Guardian Shield. A command is no longer a command, that sort of thing. And it can be extremely frustrating, and it is going to be very nice for any specialists. And Morgan here is a specialist. We'll get into that in a moment. You've probably seen it already, but we'll get into that in a moment. The last one is called Dull Attention. When this character starts their turn, all enemies without a taunt status get minus 15% attack for 1 turn. Basically, it's leaving the characters with taunt at their normal attack stat, but not letting them boost it with an attack boost, but also not doing minus. That is actually going to work quite nicely. However, if he is comboed on a team with Ezekiel and he does taunt damage dealers, the damage dealers will still get minus 15% attack because Ezekiel has the same sort of thing, minus 15% attack but just to damage dealers. But this is actually kind of interesting. It does sort of reduce the damage of non-damage dealers, and there are some heavy hitting non-damage role characters. There are, you know, support characters out there that do very, very heavy hits. So this is going to be very nice. It's going to reduce the amount of damage output, or at least percentage damage output, that your characters can do, and it will actually kind of reduce burn and bleed teams as well, because a lot of those are based off of how much attack stat a character currently has. Okay, so I am going to attack here, and you're probably thinking, why am I using S-Class characters? Because this is the only set of characters that can have normalize right now. I think maybe Mythic Morgan having normalized resistance is giving us a clue that potentially normalize is on the way within Mythic characters. We have got Magna, who has got that 100% chance to hit a normalize on a basic attack. He has 40% chance to resist. We'll do the basic attack. He does resist, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a couple of attacks afterwards. We are going to see other things come in, and you can see the bonus HP is just stacking up. 2 times it procced, and now he has 50% bonus HP. In this case, it's only 10,000 just because he has his base HP. However, if he had his normal HP when it's like Lieutenant System, Weapon, Mods, you guys know how much HP you can get on your current characters. I think this guy is going to be mainly I think like a 60-65% balance when it comes to HP. So you can get him up to like 50 to 55, 60k HP. That 25% is going to be 15k bonus HP per proc. That is a huge amount of bonus HP, and then that's where the kind of self-sustain is going to come in. No matter how much damage I do here, like if I had a Sandy, I would have to hit for 30k at this point with that sort of stat, because he's going to have a 30k bonus HP shield if he had the sort of HP he would normally have. So I like Morgan's passives. They are going to work nicely on a defense team. That bonus HP, 30% chance to proc 25% bonus HP. It's actually going to be pretty nice. The normalized resistance in there, like I say, I think that's going to be extremely rare. I don't think there's going to be too many characters or something like that. We'll check out the actual upgrades here. We can see at grade 1 he gets Bounce Back, which is the first half of that bonus HP. He gets the 15% there. Then at grade 2 he gets Strength, just like every other character. They get their roll at grade 2. That's 20% critical hit resistance. At grade 3 he gets the normalized resistance, which is actually pretty good again. And at grade 4, he gets bounce back 2, so he can get the second half of the bonus HP proc potential. So it stacks the bounce back 1, and obviously the 2 pluses stacked together, the flat rate of 25% is going to remain the same. So that's where it can go to 30% chance. At grade 5, that's where the dull attention comes in, and that is the minus 15% attack for all characters who aren't taunted. That is quite nice, and as you can see, quite a lot of these have only got 15 upgrades required, so it's going to be quite a little bit less expensive to fully max out this character, which is, again, quite nice if you are going to get your hands on him. The last one, again, limit broken characters will be able to get the second one of their role, so he'll be able to get strength 2, but we will not be able to limit break this character for a little while, but when you do, you'll have up to 40% critical hit resistance. Now, this is not all, of course. You have probably seen his specialist skill actually been proccing just randomly. He has got Bide 2, and this is one of the newer renditions of an older specialist skill. This character stores the damage it takes from attacks, active abilities, and rushes after storing damage equal to 30% of its max HP, or if the defend action is used, you deal 150% of the stored damage to one enemy immediately. Stored damage is reset to 0 after use. Bide does not trigger if this character is killed. This is obviously really great for a defense team because he has got takedown potential. I think I worked out with my brother that if you want to calculate how much damage this is going to do, you take the character's HP and you take 45% of the HP, and that's how much it will actually do in the bite damage because of how much, 30% and then 150% of that 30%, blah, blah, blah. So it'd be 45% of the character's HP. So if they had 50k HP, they would obviously just reflect something along the lines of 22.5k in when their bide goes to 30% of their HP. Now, it does also include the shield, effectively, that he's going to have. The bonus HP that is still counted as the damage he takes. It isn't just his max HP, although it is worded that way. It is also the bonus HP. It's just based on the damage he takes. It isn't based on what HP source is actually damaged. Things like burn and bleed do not count towards this. Infection obviously can one-shot him, so you've got to be very careful on how you build a character with Bide to still utilize it and keep him alive for as long as possible. It's very kind of like balancing act sort of specialist skill, but if you get it right, it can be so dangerous on a defense team and so frustrating to deal with. Okay, so I'll just show you the basics of how Bide works. You do a basic attack, and you can see on the far right hand side of his health bar, it is filling up his Bide bar, basically. And when his Bide bar gets full, he does Bide, and it does it equal to, like it said, 150% of what the 30% of his max HP is, which is 45% of his max HP overall. So in this case, it was 8.7k. What you want to try and work out is how much damage you want that to do. And right now, a lot of offensive characters probably at max have around about 23,000 HP. So you would want to do around 23,000 HP as a minimum. And you potentially want it proccing quite often. But again, you wouldn't want his HP too low or too high. Again, like I said, it's kind of a balancing act with a Bide 2 character, but when you get it right, he can go around just one-shotting characters. You could potentially see it like he doesn't maybe have to do huge amounts. You could probably see him doing like 15 to 16k, and it's generally going to finish someone off. The defend action also will. Let's say someone had 10,000 HP and he had enough Bide stored up to do like 11,000, he would prioritize just one-shotting that character by defending. This is obviously a little bit of a downside on a defense team because he wouldn't gain AP in that situation, but at least you've got one less character to deal with from an attack team. So yeah, I like Bide 2, can be great if you can get it right, and the only problem I can see with Bide 2 over a long period is that you're going to have to constantly be tweaking it as your lieutenant system grows, because it will, change based on the stats that he's going to gain. So you've got to constantly be maybe changing his mods up, changing some small things, maybe not every day, but every couple of weeks you might have to readdress it and be like, damn, he's actually got too much HP now, we can reduce his HP a little bit. I can switch out his HP on defense mod and just go for defense on defense instead, or something like that. I don't know. So or you maybe want to just switch the set bonus or something like this. So there is something that you have to keep an eye on, and you have to keep testing to make sure he's doing the right amount of damage. But like I say, I like characters on defense teams that have takedown potential. I love Governor. I think that's really great. I love characters who have bleed on defense teams. I love characters who have like these sort of specialist skills. I don't like characters that have pure damage because they can get, right now, quite heavily cheesed, reflect mods and stuff like this, and obviously people even taking right now payback characters on attack teams and stuff to cheese out some certain teams. So it can be frustrating, but like this is going to help there. Now, like we saw, Morgan does have an attached weapon. It is Morgan's Innovating Metal Staff. The innovating comes from the buff that's on it, but we can just read ahead. 25% HP, immediate bonus to AP when attacking, and he actually has AP down when being attacked, a better chance to cause minus 30 AP to the enemy on the weapon itself. It's a shame it's not the improved version, the minus 50. You know, Mythic Trial characters you maybe see having maybe slightly better weapons and more useful weapons, but it isn't going to be the case here. But you can still upgrade this and get, you know, reasonable stats out of this, and minus 30 AP isn't terrible, but it isn't going to negate a full turn. Like a signature move does 35, whereas the minus 50 is always going to be more than what someone can gain from a basic attack or a signature move on an attack team. So the minus 50 is generally the way you want to go, but maybe you don't want to kill yourself to actually get it. Like if you do have Morgan and you're not getting much luck in, you know, the armory and Earl's not being too nice to you, then I can understand you just fully upgrading this weapon from base and using it, and it should be actually pretty decent. Where you want to go after this is anyone's guess. Strong characters don't have the best defensive stuff that you can put on their weapons. You know, maybe you want to put Stonewall, if you know, stop him from getting death downed. You do want to go for double stats. Like I said, he does not need AP just because of the fact that he has a 55 AP cost rush, and that's going to be quite nice. You just want to put 30% defense on here, and I think just slap that HP up with all the 5% and see how high that can go. That's how I'm going to do it. I have got a weapon actually nice and ready for this character when I get him in my roster. So that is Mythic Morgan, guys. He is going to be the Survivors Allegiance Mythic Trials rewards. He is going to be the first edition character when it comes around the first time, and that is going to be the only time you can get him as a first edition. I am actually going to be able to get my hands on him, and I am going to be playing through it on my live stream, and I'm going to be really looking forward to that. I probably will do that on Saturday afternoon. Just play through the whole thing, and then I've saved up quite a lot of, you know, trainers and stuff. People have seen my trainers, and I've saved up a lot of trainers. I want to just max this guy out nice and quickly. I have got a reasonable amount of military supplies, so I'll be able to do, you know, some military supplies boosts as well. But I'm gonna see how high I can get him very early. So yeah, I'm looking forward to be able to get this character. Are you going to be able to get the first edition version of Morgan? Or are you going to be able to get the one singular version because you've got all 5 at tier 4? Let me know in the comments down below. And also leave your thoughts on what you think of Morgan himself. Do you think he's a good character? Do you think there's anything they could have done to make him a bit better? I think the big issue he's going to have is self-sustain. So if you can work out a way to get him to heal himself, or duo him with a very powerful healer or fast character, so fast healing's popping off all the time, I think that's the best chance of him reaching his full potential there. But that is it in my video, guys. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.